Welcome back, and today we're looking at the Tempest Knives Jetstream. You might know them from the first one they released, the Pinion, and the second was his Microburst. Both of them excellent knives, and it was really cool to see him come out with a third design this year at Blade Show. Jetstream OEM is Kubi Knives, just like the last two, and they do a really good job with their OEM work. This will be a pre-order that drops Saturday, July 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Pre-order price will be $129.99. The pre-order will be a limited run. I don't know how many, and the price will go up on the actual production drop. So if you want it at the pre-order price, you got to pre-order the knife. I will have all necessary links down in the description, and I'll try to put it in the comments as well. And what we have here is a full-size EDC knife, the largest of the Tempest knives so far, coming in at 8 inches overall. It's got a nice drop point blade that's about 3.5 inches total length. Blade steel will be 154 cm, which is an excellent, well-balanced steel. I like 154 a lot. I love this blade shape. It's going to have just the right amount of belly to be able to be used for just about anything. It's got a center line tip right there, which is also something I look for in my EDC knives. I absolutely love the stonewash finish on here. Kubi did an excellent job with that. He's going to have the knife in 2 different variations. You can get it stonewashed with the blue anodized titanium, or a reverse tuxedo with a bead blast titanium and a black wash blade. They do have some jimping right here, but I did notice it's not super grippy. It's probably medium traction, and I thought it could be longer. But when I looked at his notes, that's already going to be addressed. He is going to extend the row of jimping some. And another thing that I noticed, that the sharpening choil wasn't big enough. Once you sharpen it, it would start to widen up back here. However, that is something that he has addressed already as well. So excellent job. Casey is usually pretty receptive to ideas, and the final form's usually top notch. On the actual production run, you will have a high, deep hollow grind on it that's going to come down to 15 thousandths behind the edge. So it should be very, very slicey. That's awesome to see. And since this one is not the actual steel that will be on the production run, this one's in D2, and this one has a flat grind. The type of testing that I'm going to be doing today is just to test the feel in hand, check those ergos, and just see how this blade shape performs. Not so much on how it slices or how it holds an edge. Now, like I said earlier, I'm just trying to get a feel for the blade shape and how that type of shape will perform. And I think it's going to be great at pretty much everything you throw at it. It was pretty darn slicey. Now, I wasn't the first one to get this, so that edge wasn't as crisp as it would be, you know, if I was the first person. And now we're testing the ergos on this piece of birch, and man, oh man, this is a very comfortable handle. You have contour titanium scales, no sharp spots where you don't want them to be. The clip stayed out of the way of my palm. I was super locked in the hammer grip, close to that edge, and I could get a lot of power behind my cut. Perfect blade shape for this type of stuff. And like I said, even though it didn't have a crisp edge on it whenever I got it, it was still doing an excellent job with wood shaving. So once again, Casey has produced a excellent ergonomic handle. Now we're going to go on to the rest of the stuff, and just showing that I can get that tip on when I'm cutting, doing drag cuts. It's going to work great for that type of stuff. And I can only imagine how slicey this thing's going to be with a deep hollow grind on it at 15 thousandths behind the edge. It's gonna perform way better than you see here, and that broad blade it's gonna make it to where it's gonna go through most material very fast. Even with the flat grind, it was still performing really nicely, and I can only imagine, even with the D2, how good it'd be performing if, you know, it had one of my edges on it. It was a nice crisp edge, but there's no complaints here. I thought it did excellent for, you know, what it is at this moment, and I cannot wait to see how it does once it has, you know, the 154 cm with the hollow grind on it. This thing's going to be very, very good at cutting. Now, I was just trying to see how it felt in the pinch grip with a little bit of force doing the rope. I only did a few cuts. Like I said, didn't have much bite to the edge, but definitely impressed so far. All right, now let's take a look at the deployment in action. This is a dual deploying knife. You have a blade hole and a pretty minimal hidden flipper tab in the back right here. Blade hole action, reverse flick is excellent. You can thumb flick it, you can slow roll it, and you can also use this part of the tang right here that has jimping to do an actual flip on it. So pretty cool. I like that implemented extra means of deployment. I like a multiple deploying knife. It's just more fidgety. I did notice that the detent on this stonewash version was a little bit lighter. However, I looked in his notes and he will be strengthening the detent on the stonewash ones just a little bit to give it a little bit snappier of an action. I can still easily flip it, no problem. I also saw that he's going to be knocking down the corner on this flipper right here. I'm not too sure why the corner here, but I would have maybe took this back a little bit, or maybe, I don't know, because I'm hitting these two little nubs whenever I flip it back. Not terrible or anything. You could easily flip it, you know, in different manners. It does flip nicely. Kubi usually does a remarkable job on their drop action. This one's no exception. It has a beautiful, beautiful action. Smooth, smooth, smooth. And like I said, they usually do an excellent job. It is riding on ceramic cage ball bearings with a ceramic detent ball, giving it that silky, silky smooth action. One thing that Casey from Tempest Knives is known for is his super comfortable handles, and this one was no exception. You have nice contouring on the titanium scales. One thing that will be added to these scales is some nice micro milling. I'll pop that up on the screen now. I think it looks really nice, and it should give you some added texture to the actual scales. We have his usual decorative pivot there, like the rims on a car. I think it looks pretty cool. We have T8 construction throughout. Excellent job. Got a nice filler tab right here that is flush, and the screws are countersunk into the frame. You have a integrated lanyard spot back here, so you don't have an extra hole. If you want to tie a lanyard to that, you can. You have a titanium backspacer, titanium milled pocket clip that is reversible. It goes in and out of the pocket nicely. Now, these scales are smooth. I don't know how it'll be affected with the milling. I don't know how aggressive it will be. But I think it should be fine because it looks like some pretty fine micro milling there. And it sits fairly deep in the pocket. That's all you have sticking out. Now, being that you have this broad blade and wider scales, it's not a lightweight. It's coming in at 4.9 ounces. That said, it carries just fine. I had no problems carrying this in my lightweight shorts or my jeans. They did a good job of lightening it up as much as they possibly could by pocketing that show side scale very much, and they didn't put a liner on the show side. That helps bring down the weight. You only have a small stainless locking leaf on the lock side. The lock access is good because of this cutout. Easy to get to that lock, no problem whatsoever. The lockup on this one is sitting at around, I'd say, 40-50%. And when I say bank vault, absolutely no play any direction. Now for some quick size comparisons, we have the Tempest Pinion and the Tempest Microburst. It's bigger than both of these, just barely bigger than the Pinion. Here it is next to the Ontario Wrap Model 1 and 2. And two excellent size references, we have the Kaiser Towser K and the Civivi Elementum Button Lock. Now, one thing that I was kind of worried about is how this was going to feel in hand because of the thickness of these scales is coming in at 0.48. However, the extra width you have here fills out the hand nicely, and once again, he has a very, very comfortable knife in hand. Nitpicks and complaints, we already talked about them, and they're already being addressed. The sharpening choil, the jimping on the flipper. Like I said, he's knocking down the corner on that flipper tab. I didn't really notice anything there. And yeah, he looks like he went over with a fine-tooth comb, and I think the finished product is going to be outstanding. If you like the overall look of the knife, I would definitely jump on that pre-order. I think it's priced perfect, and you're getting a lot of knife for your money. And not to mention, you are helping support a very, very good guy in the knife community who is very active in the knife community. So yeah, if I have the money, I will definitely be pulling the trigger on one of these. I think it's a good looking knife. Love the blade shape. Love that they're putting a nice hollow grind on here. The action, outstanding. I mean, I've had plenty of Kubi OEM'd knives in the last year or so, and they've all been outstanding. It seems like they keep getting better and better with their OEM, just like some of these other overseas companies. So yeah, I definitely think he has a winner on his hands here. Let me know what you think. If you plan on picking one of these up, let us know that. Let us know that down in the comments. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.